Hello everyone, my name is Veronica Mirembe Benedictio. Benedictio or benediction. A benediction means a blessing, or in Luganda you would call me Veronica Mirembe Mukisa. Yes, in the Ugandan culture, in English, Mirembe means peace, and then benediction means a blessing. So you could call me Veronica Peace Blessing. Yes, my botanical name is Nabikolo. Nabikolo is a name I got from my late grandfather's mother. Yeah, my late grandfather's mother. She was called the late Nabikolo Veronica. All I got to know about her, she died very prematurely, and my own grandfather never got a chance to see their mother. It is why at times I don't want to associate a lot with the name Nabikolo, because when I got to hear whatever the name, like whatever concerned the person, I believe it is part of the things that have disturbed me in my life journey. Yes, so ndi muchala Muganda. I'm a Muganda lady from the Mutima clan. Ndi muchala Muganda neddira omutima omusaji. Yes, erinnya lyange ery'omutima nze Namata. So nva akabiro kaffe mawowoolo, omubala gwaffe gugamba kaababembe waba agenze omutima sirya. Yes, so that's a brief introduction about myself, because most people ask me, what does benediction mean? Is it a title? So benediction is basically a blessing. Yes, welcome to this channel, Purpose Out of Pain channel. And in these videos, I want to create videos about my life journey and helping people who battle bipolar disorder also have hope. So I'm going to do a series of videos. So I really encourage people to subscribe, to share, and help people out there battling with bipolar to also get hope and to also believe in themselves. Yes, so about my career, I qualified as a journalist, and I am a natural teacher, though like I'm a professional journalist, but I have been teaching in Ugandan international schools. I am an author. I have authored 3 books. My first book was Hope Amidst Bipolar. My second book is Purpose to Walk in Sexual Purity in Our Generation. My third book is 20 years in a mental asylum, 18 years in Butabika and Still Beautiful by God's Grace. And currently I'm working on a book called Purpose Out of Pain. Yes, so basically that's about me. Yeah, then the other thing, I am an author, I am a linguist. I'm very passionate about languages, and that's why you hear I really changed that benediction name to Benedictio, because I'm very passionate about French language. I am a singer, I am a natural writer, I am a natural speaker, and I like public speaking. I teach languages, I'm an entrepreneur, I do lots of businesses. I have different giftings by the grace of God. Yes, but in these particular videos, I want to talk about mental health advocacy, because I do lots of mental health advocacy in my country, Uganda, and I really wanted to share these videos about my personal life to help people out there who have children battling bipolar, to help people battling bipolar. Yeah, so please feel free to always reach out if you need a counseling session. But I really prefer counseling young people, yeah, because I got bipolar at the age of 14, and I really love giving hope to people who go through bipolar in the school age, because I believe I relate more to what they go through because of what I went through. Yes, I continue to welcome you. Welcome to the Hope Amidst. No, welcome to the Purpose Out of Pain channel by Veronica Mirembe Benedictio. Yes, in this first video, I want to share about my life journey. Because yes, I want to begin by sharing my life journey, because I'm going to do a series of videos that people will follow who really want to follow things about bipolar and learning bipolar, to really help people out there. Because my whole purpose is to use my shame and pain for the glory of God, to show the world that whatever was meant to break you can make you if you choose resilience. Yes, so in this first video, I want to explain about what is bipolar. One, I personally believe bipolar is a tag. That's why we should be very careful with these statements we make about ourselves. I am bipolar. At the end of the day, this is a tag. It's like any disease someone can go through, and we should really learn not to be defined by tags, because everyone has something they're going through. Yeah, so bipolar is a mental health disorder where one fluctuates between highs and lows. In the Western world, it's usually referred to as the high highs and the low lows. So bipolar here in Uganda, it is what people call okuvaako oba okutabuka omutwe. People use different language to refer to bipolar. Yes, but just like I have explained, bipolar is a mental health disorder where one person fluctuates from high to low. In the high state, someone is doing things that are a bit uncoordinated, they're out of control. And when they realize what they have been doing has been embarrassing or shaming, they go into the depressive episode, you know. So these are two poles, because it is called bi. There are two poles, one is very high and one is very low. So when after someone doing embarrassing things and they feel they are low, they go into that depressive state. The high state is called mania or manic. Like, so someone goes through mania. At times, mania is caused by different things that I'm going to explain in this video. Yeah, but I'm here to basically share my life journey. Yes, I broke down at the age of 14 years. I am now 37 years. I broke down at the age of 14 years. I was a very young adolescent. And how it all began, I was in school and I don't know. One time at a peeling ground, I begin screaming, I'm making noises, I'm speaking uncoordinated things out of the blue, because since my childhood, I was really okay. So I remember they bring me back home, but I remember that time in school, I was going through some teasing and bullying from students. I remember I was a very small little girl with a very tiny waist, and boys were running after me. So, and as a young child, I had never believed in myself that I was beautiful, because all I grew up hearing is how I had a big head. I think we all know those kids' mannerisms in homes, those things children use against each other in case of a fight. So here I am in Indeje SS, that is 2002, I was 14 years. And then every boy is sending me a paper. I was like, what is this? And then in that time during school, I have something like, girls are teasing me, you have refused to accept any guy, you're stealing up boys. I think we know what happens in secondary school. Yes, that was 2002 in Deje Senior Secondary School. So somehow I get into confusion, you know. Guys are hitting at you, then students are teasing you, then you have never had anyone telling you you're beautiful. So I don't know what was that trigger, but I believe it was a mixture of things I could not understand that were a bit coordinated. So I end up breaking down. I'm screaming at a peeling ground. They pick me up, they bring me back home in the night, and it was very sad because my parents were a little disturbed about what had happened, you know. So they take me to Rubaga Hospital, and I think I first met a physician. I think this physician puts me on medication because all they told me is that I had hysteria. So they begin giving me medication. I spent a whole year without being in school because I was home and I would not go to school. So I remember that time I was so disturbed. I think I had lost my mind because I really didn't know what was happening in the world. So after leaving Rubaga Hospital, I didn't get any better. So we come back home. We had just shifted to a new place, and this place had shrines everywhere. And that alone was something I feared. I was so anxious. So I think it has some way it also triggered me. So I believe my parents got a bit concerned. People are telling them, your daughter has been bewitched. Something bad may happen to her. She may die. And I think out of fear, because this happens in Africa, we started visiting traditional healers, or people they call witch doctors. And I believe why I'm sharing these things, I want to help people out there who have patients who have these conditions or who have this diagnosis of bipolar. One, we should learn to understand that a diagnosis of bipolar disorder is not the end of the world. People can survive, they can live balanced lives, they can learn how to look after themselves, because I'm a living testimony. So let me continue that story. So I am taken to, yes, so we begin visiting which doctors, which doctor, this one is telling you this one did this to you, this one did this to you. And I believe all those things were just stirring anger and forgiveness. It is why in my advocacy projects, I speak to patients or caretakers. Be very mindful as you take your patients to witch doctors, traditional healers, to pastors, because at times we have no idea what demons people are adding into us because we are running for solace. I believe there are also false prophets. So I don't believe in running from pastor to pastor that you're looking for prayers, because the Bible says you are your own prophet. Because I really have seen so many people being taken advantage of or being used sexually by people, because they're telling them they're giving them healing, but they're just adding worse pain to them. I have seen traditional healers use people sexually. I have seen some false prophets using young girls. They have taken them to their churches and they end up using them sexually. They have given them worse pain and diseases. It is why in my advocacy work, I like telling people, be very mindful as you run to those people, because you already have something on you and they're adding something different on you. So let me encourage people as I share these videos, because we have all been through this to help people. It doesn't matter how many witches you run to, how many traditional healers, how many pastors. There are certain things you have to work on as a patient if you are going to get better, because you realize bipolar in most cases, there are things to do with our personality, your character. So there are certain things you have to work on as a person if you really want true healing, even from such people. So let me continue my story. So I remember that time of visiting those traditional healers, of visiting pastors, and nothing was working out. So in 2003, because I had spent a whole year without being in school, my father finds a psychiatrist, and I really thank God for that psychiatrist. He's called Dr. Segani Musisi. I think he now runs a hospital. It's in Bwebaja. I've forgotten the name. Is it Lakeside Hospital? Yes. I remember in 2003, I visited Dr. Musisi. He was working at Kololo Hospital. He was working in Kololo Hospital. And I don't know, but this is a living testimony, because the first day I visited Dr. Musisi, it is like I had gone out of sleep. I came back like I had gone out of like a deep sleep, because I got to understand, and I really advise people, instead of running from witch doctor or from pastor to pastor, at times therapy or counseling or taking your patient to a psychiatrist or a counselor is what they may need. Because I realized that whole year, however much we went to witches, I never got better. But my first visit at Dr. Musisi's hospital, I came back into my true sense. So I believe all I needed was someone speaking to me. So I remember we met Dr. Musisi in Kololo Hospital. He asked me, Veronica, what is your name? And it was the first time after a long time, from the time I broke down, I was talking to someone. So I tell him, my name is Veronica. He told me, do you know what happened to you? You went through something called you have something called bipolar disorder. You have to be on life medication. And I don't know, I felt through joy and fulfillment. And it's like I came back to my true mind. But you can imagine, for a whole year, however much we went to pastors, to traditional healers, I was not fine. So he told me, you're going to begin a medication called lithium carbonate. It's going to be a life medication. I don't know, but I was very positive. I was very happy. And I remember the time we went to see Dr. Musisi, the physician in Rubaga was giving me medication, and I think it had brought me side effects. My eyes had protruded, saliva was dripping out of my mouth. I really looked like a zubi. So he asked my parents, like, was this child born like this? They tell him, no, this came when she began taking the medication they gave us in Rubaga. So Dr. Musisi prescribed a medication, and my eyes went back, and then the saliva stopped dripping. I think that was a 10. So he told me, you're going to begin lithium carbonate and you're going to take it your entire life. I remember it was like I had gone out of slumberland. I got very happy. I was fine. So I went back home and I began the medication. And you can imagine, for all those years I had been being like, those years I was not fine, but just seeing a doctor is what brought me back to my senses. It is why I'm encouraging people, learn to take people to therapists, to counselors, to psychiatrists, because at times whatever they are going through, they just need to talk to someone. So I went to Dr. Musisi, and here I am. I started taking the lithium carbonate and I got fine. I stopped hearing the voices. I stopped, the saliva stopped dripping. My eyesight was restored, because that time I was looking like a zombie. But I got back, and I remember I was a small girl, very small. The lithium carbonate began bringing appetite. I began adding weight. It was like, life had changed, but I was at least happy that I had gotten better. So my parents asked me, are you going back to Ndeje SS? I told them, no, I want to change our school since I have to take medication. So they suggested I have to be in a day school, because I had to be on daily medication. I didn't want children to laugh at me or ask me, why are you taking medicine? So I went to Old Kampala SS, and I had to rebound S2. That was 2003. So in Old Kampala, I continued. I was as a very, very intelligent student. I usually had very good grades. So I continued with my ordinary level, because I was taking the medication. I stopped hearing the voices. It is why I tell people at times there are certain things, because I really ask myself, for the years we went to witch doctors and pastors, I never stopped hearing the voices. But when I began taking lithium carbonate, there was a difference. I got better. I stopped hearing the voices, and yeah, so I go back to school, and these attacks the relapses would continually come back. So they would come back in things like stress, you have a lot of work and what. And I really didn't understand why it came like, because I was asking myself, if I'm taking medication, where am I going through these attacks again? So I was taking the medication very religiously. However, the attacks continued coming. So I would get to a point where I faced lots of stigma. Students in school would talk about me, because at times the attacks manifested and children would see you uncontrolled. Like students would see you uncontrolled. So I became that topic in the school. That girl runs mad. Stories were shared of how I ran mad, and there's one time I ran mad and burnt our home, and all those were false stories. So a lot of things were said about me in school that drained my esteem. I remember that time I had begun taking medication. My body had begun gaining weight, and yeah, because the medication, children always laughed at me. They bullied me. They gave me all sorts of names like Bere Dene. They called me Jajawabana. Bere Dene means someone with a very big bust. And this affected me, because as a young adolescent, people are calling you Jajawabana. Yes, because I really have photos of all these things, of my state, my photos during this stages, because people call this a movie. So I think I went through lots of stigma and rejection from the school setting, and I always told my dad, I don't want to go back to this school, I'm tired of being here. It was a lot, but I had to bear the pain and stigma, because I had nothing to do about it. I remember I continually told Dad, I want to leave school, I'm tired of being here, students are laughing at me. But my dad usually encouraged me. He told me, you have nothing to do, just finish up S4 and you will go to another school. So I'm here to encourage people. There is pain and shame at times you can go through, and it really seems very, very overwhelming. But God has given us the grace to always move on. So I remember, yes, during Old Kampala, I finished my S4. And I passed with very beautiful grades and went to Makerere College School. So let me stop here in this video. But as I end this video, let me encourage someone out there. Whatever we go through is for God's glory. So learn to be resilient. Refuse to be defined by tags, because God is in control. we are still continuing. In our next video, I'm going to share about my life in Makerere College School and how I managed to get into the university. Thank you very much for listening to me. Please subscribe, share, and let this life story be of use to someone out there. Thank you very much. In Kinyarwanda we say orakoze chane. Yes, in French we say merci beaucoup. In Chinese we say sheshe. In German we say danke schön. In Arabic we say shukran jazila. In yes, thank you very much. Let us stay tuned. Veronica Mirembe Benediction.